go. Let's go. Make sure we're live. Here we go. Sure you guys been able to hear me. What up traders, what up investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for another fantastic live stream. I'm gonna try to go as live as long as I can. I actually have my earphones on just so I can't hear the outside noises. There's like absolutely insane wind gusts currently going on, like 45 to 55 mile per hour wind gust, and that's not really common here in the Virginia area here. So, and it's constantly just battering the house, so you can hear a lot of things shaking and rattling. So yeah. So let's kind of go kick off the show here. What is going on with the futures? Insane stuff. We saw the volume on a lot of the other stocks really go into some insane levels. R2D2. Wow. Let's give everyone R2D2 a round of applause. Thank you for becoming a member. I greatly appreciate that. R2D2, if you message me via Discord, I'll add you to the list to get that stuff. I was just, hey Ken, W will both did well. I got a new one for you this week. KBR was on the Kramer Friday. I think that ARC-X might be adding it to the ETF. So ARC-X is not live yet, correct? That's the space and exploration. KBR, yeah, that is that got a run up. The word got out that it was going to be on Kramer most likely, and people just really front run it right there. They really got in front of that one and really kind of run that one up a little bit there. Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. I missed my lips there. Whew. Take a quick second here, refocus here, get back in line. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I'm not gonna lie with you. Wow. But the professional service across the program life cycle across three spectrums, global business spanning the government services. The business is organized into three segments: government solutions, technology solutions, energy solutions. Huh. Interesting. But it's an interesting looking stock. It pays a 10 cents dividend, so that's always nice, right? Wow. I like it. I like that. Sadly, the way I trade, honestly, R2D2, I'm not able to get into this one because of, look at that amount of volume. Yeah, that's a pretty nice breakout. I'm gonna put this one at potentially hitting that. Yeah, look at that, right up to the 1272, so at $37. If this wants to continue to run and we get that momentum, again, momentum is not really my favorite thing to do. If that momentum continue, we're gonna be looking for $37 plus into $44 there, R2D2, if you're still there on that break there. This is definitely something to be careful about. But again, yeah, that's a pretty drastic move up. Let's see if that can hold there. But we shall see, says the blind man. Makeshift, what's up, my friend? Handle, yeah, my great weekend was great. A little busy, did a lot of yard work on Saturday, and then visited family today, and actually just got home about 9:30-ish, and been dealing with the winds here and just power flickering on and off. It sounds like it's kind of going down. The advisory is supposed to be going until 4 a.m., so we'll see how that goes out. You're welcome, R2D2. Ryan, again, I love you too, Ryan. Yeah, so definitely, let's look at the futures. I haven't really done a deep dive yet today. I'm going to have to stay up and do all that today. With the NASDAQ, we have not seen the break into the 50 SMA. Of course, I'm always hesitant to say, oh, we're crashing, we're going up, going down, left and right. Just to remember that, hey, that 50 SMA is that level here. Let's kind of just highlight this on the QQQ to kind of give a better rounder numbers here. So 321 to 320 are those levels that we need to see to be looked at if we can kind of see break above that. We're still in, you know what, chop, chop, chop. And just not the best, the realm of things. It just, we're seeing bumpy roads. It doesn't mean that the world's coming to an end. It's just saying, hey, the market's just trying to figure out what the balance is, where things could be going, and this is basically an interesting thing to potentially see play out. Honestly, the chop in the market again. By chop, what I mean is you really haven't seen the market go anywhere. It's just kind of treading water. It's going sideways, and it's not giving us a direction. It's not if people follow into the mean reversion, or people fall into trend, or people fall into those kind of strategies, you're kind of having a tough time because the cues are not really giving you a direction. And that's what I mean by that. Makeshift, yes, I'm a very much a regular on Wall Street Bets. Lord Running Climb, good evening, mate. Thoughts on FPC? Been averaging in whenever below dip 69. Let's see. Is it FPC or W? Sorry, WPC. I don't know this one. I do not know this one. Talking about one that's treading water here. So we're looking here on the weekly chart, and we're just kind of seeing it doing next to nothing. Again, what I actually don't know what this company does. But JP Creamy is a self-managed reverse real estate REIT. Okay, it's a REIT. Okay, of course those have been pretty much abolished and really just been beat down. Could it come back again? What kind of assets do they own? It didn't say here. Profile operating critical commercial real estate, totaling 922 properties, covering approximately 85 million square feet. That's a lot. The company has also acts as an advisor for management, blah, 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 blah. So basically, it's a nice REIT that pays what? What does it pay? $1? Wow, that's a not too shabby there, my friend. And if you really think that this will come back, it's been very choppy here. Like this honestly hasn't really seen the rebound. Yes, it got down to 38 and then it kind of bounced back, but it never got back to that $85, $90 level which we've seen before the pandemic. So I kind of like it in that sense. It has been beaten up, but it's been banging its head here. Again, I'm looking on the weekly chart. Let's kind of go back to the daily chart here. It's just been banging its head on that 200 EMA here. So yeah, that 69 level is a pretty good, decent level there, honestly, my friend. If it kind of comes down to that level, because again, this is literally what we were just talking about with the QQQ of just something just continuously trading in a range and not really going anywhere. It just not going anywhere. You're buying in and you're getting $1.05 or $1.04 on dividend. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And other people are losing 20-30%, and you're making, what is that? I can't do the math at the back of my head. $1 for $70 is like what? 2%, 2.5, 1.75. Okay, let's see here. Futures are poop, Ryan. Yes, they are. Since no one's asking, I'm going to ask one more. Sir, R2D2, you're more than welcome to ask as multiple questions as you can. Chewy earnings next week. I'm bullish. Yeah, Chewy. This is the what's it called? The pet supply online Amazon thingamajigger competitor. This thing is beat down. Like, let's be honest here. It has been beat down because it was considered somewhat of like a growth stock, which I think it still is. An online retailer that has been growing heavily. I think people are still putting it in the bucket of it's stay-at-home play, but I really don't think it's kind of like a stay-at-home play because I don't own a pet, not yet. But if we do, like, if you can get the same food for your dog, your cat, your pet, ferret, whatever people own, and you get the food at the same, like the reasonable same cost with the getting to your house, that's kind of a no-brainer. And it's not just the food, right? It's a smorgasbord of other things in the sense of toys, activities, leashes, collars, blah 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 blah, and being a really large footprint in that. This one again, it does have earnings like you called out on the 30th, so that would be Tuesday after the market. So that's going to be pretty. So it's is it the founder or the current CEO who invested into GameStop? I always get that too confused. That one's speaking. So the earnings for the week is about $10 move. So a $10 move is expected via the options this week. So what we're going to be looking for that again, that $75 to $74 level is that 200 EMA where it currently sits, which is a pretty significant level. But with earnings, we all know those that's a coin flip, so that can easily change the parameters. So $10 to the downside would put us around $65, and then $10 to the upside would, guess what, would put us at $85, which kind of would bump into that 21 EMA. The last earnings was a little bit of they've been running at a loss with earnings per share, but they've been with the earnings per share, they've been gaining on traction, users, generating more revenue, but they're not being giving the increase in profit because again, they're putting it potentially right back in the business. I don't know the full front of the house or the fundamental story on it. I don't have the world's greatest grasp on it, but yeah, this one has been definitely very much beaten down. As we speak here, again, things can go lower. Again, you have to be understandable. Again, don't be completely subscribed to something don't die on the hill for any stock. I promise you that. Like, as much as I love Tesla, as much as I love Costco, if they do dumb stuff, I have to be a disciplined investor and cut it. If they start doing dumb things, like if Costco comes out and says, you know what, we're going to charge memberships of $1,000 now and cut employees' benefits back down to $5.25, whatever the lowest minimum wage is, like things like that. Those are the dumb things that I'm talking about. I kind of ranted on that one a little bit too long. I apologize on that one. Let's see here. Do you think that it would be a bad to invest in Baidu at this discount right now, Edward? I'm not. Again, I don't know the full story on what the hell happened on Friday with this, on the large amount of block trades going on there. I have to be a little bit disciplined as well. Of like, hey, if I want to catch a falling knife, you have to subscribe to that and be willing to catch that falling knife. When you catch falling knives, you normally potentially can get hurt. Could you get a rebound? Of course you can get a rebound. You can get a dead cat bounce. This thing can easily bounce off that 190-ish level, even around that 208, and run up back up to 230 and then continuously come down. This is very unclear what is going on here, honestly, in my picture book, and not really seeing a really true base kind of coming here. If something drops so drastically and literally goes back to nearly the beginning of December, I want to ask myself some questions there. If you're a long-term investor, you know the fundamentals, you know the story, go right ahead. Trading at this one, even investing in this one right now is a little bit sparse for me, the way I wouldn't want to touch it. But that's just my honest opinion. Alan, what's up, my friend? What's up? Andrew says, I like WGO. Is that Winnebago? Yeah, I like me some Winnebago too. Yeah, this one, I actually got into this one. I traded it just for a little bit. I bought it into that 71 to 72 range, rode it up to 80, got out more of like an earnings run because, again, what was the catalyst behind it? Everyone's not really wanting to travel. They want to do traveling via an RV. An RV last year was fantastic, and I think RVing already into the spring or summertime is also going to be pretty substantial as well. With that being said, though, we are seeing a fantastic earnings coming out, even though it dropped on earnings per share. Again, not understanding the full fundamental story there. So Andrew, keep in mind of that. That bounce off the 89 EMA. So initial short-term support around $68 to $70. So we could easily get a bouncing or try to get back above $77. Nothing's wrong with being a bored old man dividend stocks in the future. You're what? Kevin NGO says, "What's about Square SQ?" Yeah, I don't know. Like, are people putting Square in the same kind of like roundabout scenario of just like Bitcoin? Like, oh, it's just another Bitcoin. Blah 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 blah. It's definitely something interesting. That being said, we do have a short-term support coming in around 202 to 200. That's going to be the 144 EMA on the daily chart. Looking at this one at the weekly side, we're really going to be looking for some longer support around 200 to 197. If that does not hold, we can easily come back down to 180 or below that. That 180 is going to be kind of, the initial before 180 on the daily chart is going to be coming around the 190 to 187, which is the 200 EMA. But again, a lot of capitulation with a lot of these growth stocks, and the stocks that have done very well in the past year and a half, the last year now, are really outperforming, and now they're just kind of in chop mode. So yeah. Makeshift says, my family started using Chewy and they really enjoyed it. Fantastic, right? That's a good story there. Can you talk about Tesla future for the next week? Thank you very much, Al Franklin. What's up, my friend? Yeah, Tesla. So in the future, in a week in a nutshell, I can't predict the future in a week or whatever, but the expected move for next week for Tesla is $50 plus or minus. So that's what the options market is giving it on the bell curve on Tesla, of course. So that kind of puts it up to like that potentially, was that like 670 to basically potentially to like 5 like 75, 580, something like this range there. Really potentially this one has been very much beaten down. I think, hate to say it, but I think it could go lower due to, again, the inflation concerns. Of course, if the NASDAQ continues going lower and a lot of the EV stocks get hit, I think that, again, Tesla could go lower with this kind of the squeeze that we're seeing set up here. RSI and the volume zone also has been kind of banging at that zero level. It has not been able to really get the cahoots to break through it. We have some initial short-term support around 600, but again, the market wants to sell off and take things lower. We could be saying Hello Kitty to around 543 to 550 easily. On the flip side, we need to get back above that 21 EMA because you're seeing the 5 and 8 continue going lower here, and the 21 EMA really kind of sinking lower. So just get ready for anything for next week. I hope it's a green bullish week, but hope and prayers the market does not give a rat's you know what about it. It doesn't care about anyone's feelings. It doesn't care what anyone's thinking. It just does its own thing on what the market wants to do. FUBO. Yeah, let's look at FUBO. Yeah, this was a very, very, very large. People were buying this one due to, again, a heavy growth name. Sadly, the stock ran up ahead of what the company was actually performing at. We're really seeing a pretty aggressive breakdown here. A lot of volume coming in on Friday. It was down 15%. I wouldn't want to take any kind of bite at this one yet, because again, this kind of falls into the scenario of somewhat of a falling knife, my friend, and the way I trade. So the way I trade is, again, that the moving averages are aggressively pointing down. We're seeing some volume, very aggressive down moves on volume. So if we saw aggressive moves down on no volume, I kind of like that. But we're seeing aggressive moves down with volume, and it's not really seeing. So normally if you see a lot of volume and nothing's really happening, it's basically an equilibrium, is that the right word, on the capitulation between buyers and sellers. Since the stock really kind of tanked with it, again, it tanked easily it nearly was over. It was down more than 15% at one point, but it closed at 15%, probably closer to 20. I want to be very careful on this one because this clearly this was a very heavy growth name last year, and I think people need to make that transition or the focus out of what worked in 2020 and looking at 2021, because again, we're playing with different parameters. We have a lot more data coming in. Yes, last year was a hell of a year for a lot of people trading. It was a great year for me as well. I gotta throw that in there, flex. But the sense of trading like that, like last year, doesn't always work. You can't just buy something. Not saying this company's crap, but this stock has got ahead of it what it's actually doing. The company sounds fantastic, it's doing great, but the stock really got ahead of itself due to, again, that a lot of momentum trading that we saw last year. How's NKE looking? I actually bought NKE on the dip. This is something I was okay buying on the dip, small size, because of I knew the limited damage of it. Like by limited damage, I mean like, okay, so Nike, H&M, Adidas, and other whatever companies that make a lot of shoes and t-shirts and stuff like that and clothes are like saying, hey, we don't buy from this certain district or a certain province in China due to the fact of the inequalities in people, blah, 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 which is fantastic. And I agree with that. But now you have everyone in China burning their Nikes, their tennis, their shirts and everything. Multiple people being dropped. They're saying it's 15. What did I hear? Like, I think Makeshift. What did you tell me? It was like 15 to 18% of their market is in China. I don't really like. Again, this is kind of going into like more my viewpoints. Like, I don't like people being bullied around and being told what to do. I think that you can just let the market or your dollar really dictate what you should or should not buy. So if people don't want to buy it, fine, don't buy it. Like, just don't. I think it's a little bit overblown. And then I just made a quick trade and I bought the dip here when I hit the 200 EMA here and got the majority of it out of it by that 133 to 132 level coming into Friday. It was just like a very easy trade there. That being said, can this continue going higher? Maybe. We do have some short-term support again, that 200 EMA here. Let me get rid of some of these fibs here. That 200 EMA is going to be your first initial level of support there. Again, but if there's more news coming out of more like sanctions that literally the Chinese government is going to be putting on Nike, then there's going to be a problem. But then how is that going to be a problem for anyone that does business in China? Like, let's be honest, like a lot of this business stuff happened in late the 1990s to early 2000s when we were just like, hey, let's just do equal trade, China. Let's have a great deal. You buy stuff from us, we buy things from you, and we can make a nice little equal trade policy. But it, in my viewpoint, has come out to basically just China. So we're the idiots, honestly, to let them manufacture all our PPE stuff, let them manufacture all the drugs that we're short, all the CPUs and a lot of the tech-heavy chip stuff as well. Like, it's a lot of people are sleeping in the bed they made, so be very mindful of that as well. This is my favorite shirt. My daughter loves my Hawaiian shirt here. What the by the tip, as Ken always says. God bless you. Markers want to play YOLO on Playboy. R2D2 says Lulu excited both earnings next week. Lulu. Does Lulu make their stuff in China or somewhere else or Vietnam? Yeah, this one hasn't really been hit. Again, whatever happened with Lulu, it's just kind of been ever since this, like, not the last quarter, but the previous quarter. whatever happened, the news article or what the fundamental story switch was, um, it's just not been able to really recover from that. It's just been very choppy here. Again, are people saying it's like a stay-at-home play because people are not going to want to wear yoga pants anymore? I don't know what's going on with that. But with earnings coming out, I think it's a coin flip. Excuse me. $23 plus or minus is the expected move. So $23 is pretty substantial. Initially would love to see this back above $333 to try to break up to $340. But to the downside, we have some initial short-term support around $290 here. Kind of, again, that's what the expected moves are. So let's see how that coin drops. Ross, what's up, my friend? Why did Discovery even go up? Who watches Discovery? Honestly, I don't know the fundamental story, honestly, my friend, on why Discovery ran up so much. I knew they have a streaming service, and it was a pretty, like, I won't say discounted streaming service, but it was like more or less a, I think they were advertising for like $3 or $4. Correct me if I'm wrong. That you're able to watch like 90 what were the article taglines, like 90,000 hours or something like that of content. But what is 90, like Netflix probably has like 1 trillion hours of content, but there's a lot of it's trash. Like, anyways, yeah, this one I would not want to touch with a 10-foot pole. I would want to touch this with a 100-foot pole if I could lift a 100-foot pole, because that is insane. It literally dropped like 55%, like we talked about in the previous video, from that high to low. Like, and that volume right there, that really kind of scares me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's not the way I like to trade that kind of stocks. It's a little too scary for Kenny. You know what, brothers, about my Tesla factory in China? I feel like they rely way too much on the factory. Maybe it's just me. You know what, brothers? Yeah, again, like, let's be honest. Like, we've seen a lot of things. Like, how easy is it for someone, one of the workers or whatever, to be like, plug in a thumb drive? And I don't know, like, being somewhat of an IT security person as my job, my day job, they have to, how they're protecting it, like, unless you literally see like another Chinese model car that looks exactly like the Model 3, like, I just think that it's interesting. Like, like, once, I think it's going to be coming down more to when the batteries come out. Like with Tesla, if they are able to build and create that solid state battery that they're talking about, that like could be potentially like 1,000 miles per charge, that's going to be game changing. That's something that I think they would potentially try to limit, without a doubt. Yeah. I do not like CCP. What's CCP? Is that a stock? Or is it the Chinese? Oh, what the CCP? You don't like the Community College of Philadelphia? What's wrong with you, man? The Chinese Communist Party. I know, I'm just joking with you. Just joking. It's kind of funny how Google, you type in CCP and they type in the Community College of Philadelphia. Let's see here. I don't think anyone really likes the CCP. I don't know. I've never met anyone like, hey, I agree with the CCP. So, yeah. Can you please check out Pfizer and Alfred? Yeah, what's Pfizer stock? I always forget their darn symbol. Is it F? Is it FIZ? FPE, right? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Pfizer kind of coming back around here. I don't know how this is like. I normally don't trade well, Ross, with pharmaceutical stocks. I'm gonna be honest with you. Pfizer, yes, it's a pharmaceutical stock in it because but it has so many diverse segments and chains and all kinds of things that I'm a little bit like, eh. But that being said, it's been a little choppy here. It is trying to kind of recover here and kind of break out here. Looking here on the weekly side, we do see the 5 and 8 trying to cross over through the 21 EMA. So if we do get that, we have an earnings run potentially on the what's that, May 4th. Wow, the May the 4th be with you. Potentially running up to that $37 price target would be the next overhead target, with some short-term support coming in around 35 there. And then what is that one? The APHRIA. I always forget there it is. So this one, of course, has come down a little bit. It's not like crashing down like other stocks we've seen. It's kind of been a little choppy. It's really not being, it's kind of hitting off that 50 SMA here, that 17 to 16, 13 level. We can kind of potentially still chop water, stay above that. Really next level to kind of see go to the upside is that $20 range, which we talked about. I think, when was that video that I put out about some folks buying this one pretty heavily via Wall Street Bets. So yeah, I still like it. It's just a little bit more chop, honestly, because they're still trying to close that deal, right, with Tilray, right, if I remember right. That's why I'm so bullish on the NIO Model S, the NIO Cybertruck. I gotta say it how it is, Makeshift. You gotta. I can't suppress myself. I don't have to suppress myself, right? I live in the greatest country in the world. Anyways, speaking of the greatest company in the world, Costco. Yes, I love my Costco. Costco is a big thumbs up for me as well. I've owned Costco forever. We bought in a little bit more back around that 315 to 310 range, which are kind of really bottom out after earnings, and really has seen this kind of pretty aggressively rebound again. Not a perfect V-shaped bottom, a little bit more of a choppy V-shaped bottom, but it is still caught some steam and it's kind of pushing higher here, and really doesn't give a rat's you know what, and it's been grinding higher here. Looking for initially to kind of test and break into that 360 range, which would be quite significant in that range where it kind of gets back into that little chop mode. Of course, that range we would love to see it back out is potentially test that 390 to 400, but I'm not going to push the envelope too far. We just want to kind of see this kind of get back into the swing of things, and really kind of just really beat in the market, because I think I think people who with Costco pays a great dividend. Look at this like somewhat insane. Let's go to like a monthly chart here. It's been a pretty nice little grower here for sure, without a doubt. So a very nice looking chart. Very nice. And it pays a dividend. So Ken, can you please take out CCJ and tell me your thoughts? Yes, I love me some CCJ. I actually sold just a hair on this one. I didn't sell the hair, but I got into this just a little bit here around that, like, I think it was like lower 15s-ish here on that it's pretty steep pullback here at the beginning of the month. And then again, it really caught a hell of a bid here and ran up pretty substantially here. Coming back down to that 1650, 1663, kind of where that 34 EMA lies and those parabolic SAR dots. This one initially looking to kind of stay above 16-ish to $16, stay above that range. If that can stay above that range, I think this could be a nice, fantastic stock, which again, I sold out of some of the calls, but I got into stock. So I believe that this is still has room to run. If we go to the weekly side, this thing is just potentially starting here, but we are seeing some chop here. So you're seeing pretty large ranges on the weekly side on these weekly candles here, coming down to those levels here to really test out if there's are any weak hands. So that's my opinion also there, Joseph. Oh, I didn't know that. New York's voting on legalizing this week. Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. Cheers to you, my friend. Ross, you're really welcome. FUBO, we did that one already. I think that's kind of a falling knife, and I really don't want to touch that one, my friend. Dan says, Ken, IMTX ran up last week. I got in and it dumped. I think it was an S. Morgan gave up and upgraded it from 16 to 20. I am holding onto hoping to come back to 1550, or should I nail with a big loss? Your thoughts? So reading that, what I got from that was, sadly, don't take this the wrong way, that you didn't really have a trading plan. Like, when something runs up this much on that amount of volume, that FOMO, the what's the FOMO, the momentum kicks in, and when that happens, it's like, let's look at it in the sense of in the wildlife. So this potential stock or whatever just got upgraded. You got a huge boost in volume. There's blood in the water because it's fresh. It's fresh chum in the water, and that's great. Sure, if you're trying to catch fish, but that also attracts other predators. The predators that we're talking about here are the day traders and the short sellers. Short sellers love these huge spike ups on, like you just said, on like the pumping up of an upgrade, the pumping up of this volume. This is just an outlier. By an outlier, if we scroll over to this chart here, this is a daily chart here, and what this does, this is highlights the average volume down here. I can't even see the volume that we normally see because it's just such an astronomical outlier. This is just be very mindful of, like, hey, this is the news better be like, hey, this company just cured cancer, then this can continue to run. Like, I don't know the story on this, I have no idea what this company does, but I am always mindful of these very large volume days. So again, I'm not trying to scold you, Dan. I'm just trying to make this like an opportunity to learn here, where if you had like, hey, I'm going to buy in at 15 or 1550, I think it's like, you're hoping to get it back up there. Maybe I wish I could tell you that it would go back up to 1550, but I don't know. I really don't. It's a very choppy stock. It does get pretty large moves higher every once in a while, and depending on what it moves here, I think what you were thinking was going to happen is what happened back here, basically over a year ago, when it got a boost higher. Then can it kind of just continue to push higher here? So again, I don't know what happened here, but that is a massive amount of move here. But the market's saying with price here is this kind of coming back down. So if it can hold above 1220, maybe you can get a bounce higher and get some of those things to kind of come through. But I don't know. Like, if you got it at 1550, I would have maybe put it in a stop, potentially on where your risk and reward was. So my stops are pretty close in, like initially, especially on a move like this, I have to keep my stop pretty close. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful there. I wish I could help you more, my friend. Thoughts on Bngo? So like the shirt. Thank you, my friend. Bngo. I haven't looked at that one for a minute. Yeah. Sad thing is like, the people, like, look how many people bought into this area around 550. and then the volume kind of died off here, and people were potentially hoping and praying that this would go to 100 or whatever they were thinking. I don't know what people think at times. I wish I knew what people were thinking. I would make a lot more money. Um, this is the one that has like the gene editing testing sequence thing that does it like rapidly faster or something like that, or more accurate and less cost, less of a cost, if I remember right. Fantastic story. I love it. I love the story. Fantastic, right? But I don't think this fundamental, like just speaking my own words from my head out of my mouth to you, that I think the stock just got ahead of it. The stock got ahead of the company. So now we're seeing this to kind of potentially catch up here. A lot of people loved it. That momentum move that we talked about a lot that we saw last year. Initially, some short-term support coming around $7 or the 89 EMA here. If that does not hold, we can easily come back down to the 144, which is around that 575 level. But if we want to kind of get out of this range here, we need to get back above that 850 to 885 to kind of see that market kind of come up there as well. Is AMC and GME going to dirt? GME, honestly, you have to be very careful with this one. GME, I'm starting with this one just because fundamentally and then just literally like physically and on the physical spectrum of stocks, this thing is just makes no sense right now on the short squeeze, the gamma squeeze, whatever you want to kind of refer it to, and just it's really much of a battlefield between the retail investor and the hedge fund. Hedge fund people don't like to lose, and the retail people want to give them the finger. I think it's more than that as well. I think again, it's a pretty significant move in a stock that really just caught a lot of people off guard here. We're talking about GameStop here, right? Everyone just like, oh, everyone just buys games online now. But guess what? I went to where did I go? I went to Giant today. All right, and I heard the I always have my listening ears out. I don't listen to gossip, but I just look. I have like certain like trigger words or like target words that I hear. I heard GameStop at least 3 times, to the times of people asking, "Hey, where do I get cards or GameStop gift cards?" Another person was asking for, where do I get Steam gift cards? And the person said, oh, we don't have them here. You need to go to GameStop across the street. And I forget what the third instance was. Someone was talking about GameStop on, I think they were talking about their initial, what they had in the stock. So I feel a little weird coming up with someone with a mask on saying, hey, high five, dude, on GameStop if you've been holding it. But yeah, is it going to dirt? I don't know. I have no idea. I really don't. I wish the chart right here. We saw some initial short-term support on the 50 SMA here. So we around 127 would be the initial support level. If it does start breaking below that and closing below that, that could see some potential further downside on that one. And then AMC. I think it's pretty much clear that movie theaters are probably not going anywhere. And I don't think AMC, I didn't really dive into the earnings call, the fundamental story. I don't think they're going bankrupt because on the amount of capital that could potentially lever off their stock here. This one as well is kind of coming into that $9 level of support here, which we've seen potential resistance to the upside. Now it becomes support to the upside, or resistance to the upside. Now it comes support to the downside here. So around that $8.95. If it starts breaking below that 833 or the 50 SMA could catch some support here. But yeah, these things very much on a huge different spectrum on the market. Oh, Alan, thanks for the $5. I feel like the CCP China should have done that before. Will steal their technology and just take over. Yeah, I don't. Like what? Let's play the scenario game. Like what happens if they just like, hey, due to regulation code 22572-1, the building's ours now. Goodbye. Like goodbye. Thank you for the $5, Alan. But GW, yeah, GW. What's it? GRWG. Yeah, yeah. This is again. I think is a great way to play it. This is the like the facility behind a lot of this stuff, so we can easily. This one has been very choppy. Has not like significantly sold off like a lot of the other stocks in the market, but it is kind of bouncing off that initial support around 42.50 to that lower 42 range. So be pretty significant level to kind of see if that holds here, with coming into Friday nearly down 4%. So be a little bit healthy and wise on that. Oh, excuse me. Whew. I gotta stretch my back here. Tommy's asking for Utz. Love me some Utz pretzels and chips. Oh my God, those grandma potato chips, brown paper bag specials. Tommy, you know which one I'm talking about, right? Those like double fried potato chips. Oh, I can eat a bag of those a day. Not healthy, but yeah, this has been. I think was it Alan? Did you bring this one up to me like when it first came out? Was that you, Alan? This thing is just look at this. Talking about an IPO stock that actually makes money. Utz. Done. I love it. I love it. A little choppy here. Kind of coming down. It's below the 50 SMA as of right now. But we'll see again. Was this more of a stay-at-home play? I don't know. But the chart has been going up. We have seen the 55 EMA, which is that white line here, be some support. So that's going to be your initial support around $24.15, $24. But it can come down to 23 and potentially get a bounce there. But yeah, the chart is still somewhat trying to trend higher here. Dan, thank you for your appreciation and being a wonderful candidate. Can we look at the Russell 2000, Alan? Yes. You want to look at the IWM? Let's look at the IWM. IWM on the daily chart here, kind of coming back here. Pretty aggressive sell-off again. A lot to do with like the oil stocks. The oil stocks got pretty heavily hit this week. Even though we have the Suez Canal debacle with that oil tanker, but the supply tanker literally clog up the hole. Is that thing still stuck? But yeah, IWM, I still like it. Pretty aggressive pullback here. So we'll see how this comes in on the rest of the week here. But highlighting this one especially, this has been a pretty enormous run here, basically from that gap up. Again, that same time frame we saw a lot of stocks run from that November time frame of last year into this year. Look at this. This thing has run up from the high to low 43%. 43% in about 5 months. That's a nice move. That is a very nice. Seeing some selling coming in today, or this week, that was just fine here. We do have some initial support around 205 on the weekly chart here. So be mindful about that one. That kind of falls into just right below the 89 EMA, which we like to see on that potentially hold. So, but maybe seeing some chop with this one as well. But I think I would rather put my money into the Russell than the NASDAQ on how things are potentially turning around. VIAC. This one of course, this was one that really got hit last week as well, due to those block trades or whatever. Like this one really just kind of got sideswiped. Like, look at this. It gave back all its earnings or all its stuff from since the beginning of the year, from like basically coming all the way down to like $40. This is like, please explain to me what in God's green earth happened there. Dropped of 60% in about a week and a half. That's insane. Viacom, CBS's global partnership, blah, 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 blah. Like that's a lot. That is very, very interesting to see. What is YouTube saying me here now? Thanks, YouTube. Okay. Looks like my bit rate is dropping here. Am I sounding okay here? Test. It must be due to the fantastic buffering here as well. So that's fine. Yeah, with the Viacom, of course, this was like a partnership deal, right? Or something like that. But do X Tiger Asian Fund triggers some of the selling stock sales. What? I'm going to read about that one in a little bit. That looks interesting. Yeah, these are falling knives, and I don't like to catch falling knives. Hey, Ken, I am short 1,700 shares of Baidu, and I'm scared shitless. Nick, you got balls of steel. Holy moly, my friend. Let's give Nick a round of applause. Like, did you short this like at 250? When did you short it? That is, gosh, Jilly, dang, Nick. Nick, what are you? God, I hope the best for you. Like I tend to agree with that analysis, but hopefully that's not like your more than 5 or 6% of your portfolio, because of shorting it, that can go sideways pretty fast if we do get a ratchet cake higher here. We'll see on how it comes in Monday. I will definitely be giving a prayer to you, my friend. But this one, again, it's coming down. It did have some initial short-term support here around 190. And after hours market here, let's look at like a 15-minute chart. It did kind of fluctuate a little bit, but like this volume coming in here, basically around like that 1730, insane, and just kind of like leveled off here around 203. Again, I'm not sure what price you got into, but yeah, that takes some balls. Let's see here. Garrick Base's cake is on fire. Yes, the Cheesecake Factory. It is. The building's not on fire. The stock is on fire. Like this thing, one of the fantastic, great opening plays here. This has this continuously to give. I wanted to get in here around 37. I sold some put spreads on here because I'm a coward. I don't have cojones like Nick over here. Just to be like my risk to reward consistency that I have. It did pay me in profit, but if I just bought straight calls, I would have been printing money here and potentially getting enough cha-ching to get that Model X soon. But yeah, this thing on the weekly side is insane. We are breaking past the levels that we saw before the pandemic. We're well past that. That was like that $45 to $50 level, which I had it initially priced at. I was like, that would be somewhat reasonable, but now we're way past that now. I think I'm a little concerned here, honestly, on this very high escalation here. I know it's fantastic. It's doing great and stuff like that, but it's running up quite a bit here. So that 64-ish to 65 range be very careful out there. If we can get continues to run, God bless them. I'm not going to be the one to short this. I don't like to short things. I'm emotionally not stable for that. But yeah. Makeshift's asking, hey Ken, are you buying the Coinbase or Robinhood IPO? Probably not. Probably not. Like on a fundamental level, I used Coinbase in the past. That's actually where I stored all my coins on the previous Bitcoin run, the last Bitcoin run in like 2016 to 2017. Um, but and then Robinhood, I haven't used that for years, so I don't know what would compel me to buy Robinhood. Honestly, are you buying it, Makeshift? Code like Ivan says, sorry, just joined. Don't be sorry, my friend. I'm wondering if you can cover PLTR. Nope. Yeah, sure. No problem. I have not covered PLTR. PLTR. I'm actually going to be working. I was going to write a video. I write all my ideas down and I kind of just let them brew for a little bit. And I was going to do a video calling it something like people stop need to be putting out these stupid, insane price targets for PLTR. Like each time I'm seeing a report about PLTR going to 50, I was like, okay, maybe. PLTR 200 this year? I don't think so. PLT to 300? Okay, now I need to calm down. PLTR to 1,000? Okay, you need to shut up. like, I think that I don't understand. Like, I own PLTR to be fully understanding about this. Could I see it hit $60 this year? Maybe. The earn options market's only expecting another move of about $15. Okay, so $15 we're currently looking at is only to like that $40 range ish. So it has to have substantial move, and I honestly think that there's too many people in PLTR right now on a psychological level that are just hoping for a very quick return. And I think that once their ADHD or their lack of resilience or patience in the stock just gives out, I think that could really create the stock to drop here a little bit. And I will be down there potentially holding at, I don't know, $18, $15 or wherever it goes to buy those stocks from those individuals, because I think people don't quite understand the fundamental story behind this. This is not, I don't believe this is going to be a $100 stock this year. Would it be a $100 stock in 5 years? Maybe. I hope so. That's my game plan. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for, those potential returns. The CEO, Alex himself, has said, hey, please don't own the stock if you're wanting a quick buck, because you know what? We have the AI and we know what's going to happen in the future. That was a joke. But on the sense of like, this stock is most likely going to be choppy here in the near term before it goes anywhere. And I think it's going to most likely shake out people before it goes higher. My only viewpoint. So where do I can see it going? I can see, again, breaking lower here. Maybe holding in the short term above $21 to $22. If it really breaks below $20, that could easily hit to that around that $18 range for PLTR. To the upside, we really need to get back above the 21 EMA, which is basically above $24.75 to $24. And I think that was a little bit longer winded, so hopefully that helped you on PLTR and my personal viewpoints on that. CSCW, what is that? Wow. Color Star Technology. What? What? What is this? Eddie, what is this? Yeah, that's again a very choppy looking chart here. It's not really again my favorite cup of tea here, but it is. I don't know what the story is on this one, but it looks like a lot of very high aggressive moves here on whatever if it's like earnings or something like that. Yes, I am sure buying Coinbase. I don't know about Robinhood yet, but I'm interested. Yeah, Makeshift, you know yourself better than I know you. You got to trade your book, my friend, and I think you know that. Hey, what crazy? Hey, what about crazy price targets for Tesla? You're telling me. I don't know how someone can literally say Tesla's going to 3,000 in 5 years. She was somewhat right. Don't get me wrong. I love Kathy, but the robo taxi stuff, I think that's a little bit further down the road than a couple years. We're still talking about getting that Cybertruck out and all the other components. Full FD is not even supposed to go live for another 18 months. So there's a lot of different things that need to happen first. Again, I love Tesla. Again, I'm one of the largest Tesla bulls probably as on speaking here. Um, the expected move for the rest of the year is plus or minus $477. It's trading at 600 basically, a little above 600. So we can easily see this hit 1,000 or come back down to 200. I know that's extreme, but that's what the options maker is looking at. With the NASDAQ potentially going lower, chip shortages, higher inflation with, again, I believe, didn't Tesla just have to raise prices on their, oh my God, their cars, right? Because higher chip cost, some flooding in some nickel mines in Russia, I heard. What is the cost here now? What is this for? I thought they raised it. I can't remember honestly. I thought they raised it like $2,000 across the board on some of them. But yeah, that's what. Don't get me wrong. Me love Tesla. I love it, love it, love it. But we'll see how that goes. Let's see here. If Nasdaq gets snapped, Tesla would fall. Yeah, for sure. Looking at Tesla again, we have some short-term support around 600, but if 600 fails, we're gonna say hello kitty to around 550. Same to the upside here. We need to start getting back above 675. Yeah, Tesla has a very high delta. Seth is asking for June. Yeah, that one got hit too last week, didn't it? If I remember right. I always forget the ticker for the JM. If I can just type it out, yeah, JMI. Okay. Yeah, same kind of pattern that we're seeing a lot of these growth stocks, Seth. Really coming down and hitting that 144 EMA or hitting the 200 EMA, maybe creating a double bottom and maybe flushing lower here. Initially speaking, we have some short-term support coming in around 31.50, so $31.50. It's going to be a Fibonacci level, and it's kind of be coming into that support level around the 200 EMA here. So be very mindful about that. I want to kind of update this here real quick here. Let's do this. Yeah, this stock has definitely run up quite a bit in the last year, being a stay-at-home play, expansion on e-commerce within the greater, oh my God, continent of Africa. But I don't know too much else behind that. I just know the generic bullet points that people always talk about in this one. Again, on people like, hey Ken, should I buy JMIA? It's got a great market. The TAM is this. I'm like, go for it. But I don't like. It's not my cup of tea here. It's been very much kind of beaten down here. It's given back a lot of its gains that we've recently seen here. It hit that $70 range, which was pretty high up there. Never hit that oversold level here that we saw on the daily chart here and kind of giving it back, but it was fairly close here. And it's been maybe kind of dormant here a little bit. Let's see if it can maybe really fall on that level of just being chop there. Oh, it's an NFT play. Ah, interesting. SP's asking for Stitch Fix. Yeah, this one was clearly, I think people just really got ahead of themselves on this one. Again, this is where, what's the word? Like the stock got way ahead of the story here. I think it's a fantastic product. Actually, I think I got this from Stitch Fix, this awesome shirt here. But it's been trying to bounce off that 200 EMA around $50. But that last earnings was not great. Like, that was a huge gap down. Looking for some initial support around $49 to $50. If we can't find that there, we can be saying hello to $43 to even $40. But those moving averages is somewhat still aggressively pointing down their SP. Check Kathy's model on GitHub. No, hey, don't get me wrong. I love me some Tesla. Tesla is a software world-changing company. It's not a car company. I 100% agree with you. Ness says, what up, bro? What do you think about apps? I love me some apps. I like this one a lot. So this is one that's kind of been one on my radar, and I have owned on and off. Mostly, has been a core position the last year or so, and just kind of. But now look what you're seeing now here. You're just literally just seeing chop here, really not getting above 100, and we're not really kind of just staying above 70 here, and just kind of bouncing around here. So looking for this to kind of maybe play out and then look on where if it starts breaking below 70 or making its way back up to 100 again. This is a very interesting one to play out to potentially see on how the cards fall, as they say. I don't know where they say that, but I know people say that. Nick says if Tesla is a technology company, then GME is a space exploration company. GME sells some space games that can help you with space exploration. Let's see here. Stock offering 2 weeks ago too. I got a stock offering. That's never a good thing. Sorry, that is a good thing, but it scares a lot of short-term investors. GS, Goldman Sachs. Yes, those mother truckers over there, making their poor bankers work so hard, and oh no, oh lordy gee willikers. They get paid so much to do work. Oh no. Anyways, that's my sob story for them. Coming into that 34 EMA, we've seen this kind of pattern play out before. Goldman, of course, continue going up. This trend is still going higher here. Again, really kind of compiling into that November movement and just continue to grind higher here. Initially, some short-term support coming around 325 to then potentially to 315 to be those levels of support here. We do have an earnings coming out as well, but again, with some of that negative news on their working conditions, like is it like Amazon's like complaints of we're not going down that road. Okay, we have to stop it on that. You're welcome, Seth. Ross asking for BlackBerry. Yes. What have those mother truckers been doing? Ew. That is interesting. Um, Kind of been beat down. Do have earnings coming out on the 30th, so I think you know my viewpoint on that, Ross, on the potential levels there. What is the expected move for the week? A little over a buck 50, so that's pretty substantial here. A buck 50 for a $10 stock is like 15-20% potentially. Um, Looking for this to get back above at least 10. That would be compiling on creating a little bullish narrative. There is some interesting technology going here. Again, we're not talking about Blackberries, the phone keypad phones anymore, where people are using that as text messaging. This is BlackBerry that's using for automobile companies and like the integrative stuff they put inside of cars and other components as well. This is very much a spec play, honestly, for me as well, Ross. I own a little bit of that on long dated call leaps on this one. I have to hold through earnings to kind of see how it plays out. But if earnings is terrible and it starts breaking below that like $8 and just continues to trend lower 3 days after it, I'm gonna have to cut it. And maybe yeah, that's probably when if I have to look at what I did for my plan on my trade. I'm actually gonna make sure I put that alert there just in case. I think I have it on Tastyworks though. Seeing on how that one plays out, but we'll definitely see it. Really interesting one to see how that plays out. Market makers can make a candlesticks. Yes, they can. Ken, what do you think about WBA? Is that Walgreens? Long term, so we have to go to the weekly chart here. I think it's kind of coming back here. Honestly, it's a little bit mixed story here. Very much beat down. I think that sadly, I'm more of I love my Walgreens. That's where I go for my stuff. But we don't have a CVS that's easy to drive to. I like the CVS more just because it's not just a strict play like Walgreens. They're really kind of doing the full circle spectrum of healthcare. And I kind of like that story just a little bit better. It is kind of trading into that wall here on 76. I remember trading wall CVS when it was like 100. When was that? That must have been years ago. Yeah, I remember trading it all the way up here. Like this is a move in sets. I think interesting. Does it have earnings coming out soon or something? Had earnings already. Okay. I kind of like the CVS. I'm not. I kind of just talked myself into CVS here. I kind of like CVS here. CVS potentially around like $70, 71 ish. Could be pretty interesting. I'm actually gonna write that down. Interesting one there. What about ArcX when it's going to open up? ArcX, yeah. I have to see on how that how that plays out. Honestly, on ArcX, so I'm not usually the biggest fan of just jumping on the ETFs initially. What's the other one? That? Do you think Tdoc is a buy? Seems like CEO is sandbagging revenue. I don't know the. I like the understanding of Tdoc. I just don't know the fundamental story. I know that. I think sadly the psychology of it, everyone just kind of look at it as a pandemic virus play, and they're just kind of like, you know what, forget about it. Like it's that if that's so 2020, Ken, just I want to see what's happening 2021. But it kind of broke past its initial support around 180 here, which I didn't notice that happened. That's actually pretty significant. That 180 is has been a level of pretty significantly support there, but now we're kind of breaking past that. So sandbagging earnings, yeah, I don't know. Again, going to the fundamental story, looking here on the weekly chart here, we start seeing it break below 168 to 170 here, we could be saying hello to 160 to 150 there. XSPA. Yeah, I don't know what this stock does, but that does not. Yeah, it's not my kind of chart there. It's kind of like downward trending and not really doing much of anything, and then getting these huge spurts higher here. Sorry, my friend. ARCX opens for trading on Tuesday. Fair. Oh, I didn't know that. Good for them. Sue, what's up? Good evening. What platform are you using? I'm using Thinkorswim. Sue is asking, hey Ken, what do you think about FUBO? Yeah, honestly. So this one, this was a very large growth stock. Yeah, I think most people know of last year. I think the company is doing fantastic thing with streaming, but I also think that the stock has gotten way ahead of what the company was actually doing, and it's kind of getting the feel of that. Again, it closed down 15.5% on Friday, actually even more to the extent of the day, but a lot of volume coming in. Is this a buying opportunity? Not honestly for me, Sue, just because I don't like to catch falling knives. But if you have a little bit more of a risk tolerance, maybe I'm not gonna say no, but again, it's a somewhat of a newer stock. It's only literally have had 2 earnings reports, so it's was this a SPAC or an IPO? I don't remember honestly. I'm totally confused on what happened in this one. But we'll see on how this one plays out. But I honestly think that this one could potentially come back into play here. I would rather see this kind of maybe rebound and kind of trade sideways and build a base. So what do I mean by building a base? Like consolidating for maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks, in a range of about $1 or so, or even 50 cents, and maybe see it kind of level off at those levels here. But as of the last 3 or 4 days of last week, it's just been really just aggressive downward momentum. You're welcome, Ross. Ride the wave, LOL. Yes. Another one you like is Square. What do you think? Square. Yeah, we talked about this one earlier as well. Kind of coming into that double support here, double bottom, potentially around 204, but it's gonna be heavily linked to Bitcoin, and then at the same time, heavy linked to the Nasdaq. So potentially how that plays out currently. Bitcoin's up 3% and the Nasdaq's down a little over 0.5%. So yeah, we'll see how this one plays out. I don't think it's gonna come. I hope it doesn't come crashing down. I don't want it to, but we'll see. What do you think about SPA? It's an airport company. Wow. Yeah, that the XSPA, that was the one that was kind of just jumping around. Not really my cup of tea. Yeah, the airport has been packed. MF, can we look at AMD? Yes. AMD. So I had calls in this, so I had like leaps, and I cut it down basically to like my leaps into like nothing, but I still own stock in AMD. It hasn't been fun. I'm a long-term shareholder in it, so I had to kind of live through these little waves here. Not fun, let's be honest. I don't like to lose money. I don't think anyone really does. Initially speaking here, we do have some support initially coming around $75. I'm going to be really tying this one more to the weekly chart here, and especially highlighting that 50 SMA level here on the weekly chart. So I'm mindful about those levels here around that $75 to $73 range. So hopefully that can be some support. If that does not and breaks lower, we can be saying hello to below $70 to even $65 initially for what the next level could be seeing in AMD. AMD to the upside here. We really need to get it back above 80-ish dollars to kind of get these moving averages back up in a positive upward trending move there. Oh, I didn't know that. Walgreens got, okay, that's fantastic. That looks like a great ass resume. Sue, thank you very much for covering FUB. No problem, no problem, no problem. Let's just kind of look at a couple more, and then we're gonna call it a night here. A little bit. Your friend Kenny is getting a little bit tired here, and I'm just been very blessed that the wind gods have not shut the power off. So very happy about that. Let's just kind of look at a couple things that I was looking at for the week here. One that I don't like to trade this one, but DraftKings has come up on some of my scans here. The market of sports betting, March Madness, blah, blah, blah. Everyone probably thought this was going to be going higher, but this is going to be somewhat of a heavy growther stock here. Initially, some support levels coming around $61, so that's going to be a level to hold. We've seen that move to the 50 SMA here a couple times and a bounce here, so potentially looking for the D King, the DraftKings, to potentially hold some short-term support around 61.50. We'll see how that one plays out there. Another one that came up on my scan was the Google. Google continue to come up on my scans, especially Google L. Very large move higher on earnings, and it's kind of just trading sideways. We do have some initial support around $2,000, so that's going to be what I'm going to be looking for on seeing how this one plays out in the next week or so. VUZI, yeah, is that Ryan? Yeah, this one, Kathy Woodstock, this is the AR glasses that we've talked about. I made a video about it directly here. Still in a trend here, holding that 21 EMA. Short-term support's coming in around $21 ish range there. Stronger support coming in basically around $17.84 or $18 here. But this is going to be a very heavy momentum stock. Of course, Kathy Wood via ARK Invest owns, I don't know, it wasn't a large share, but she's talked about this one quite a bit here. And it has been a pretty significant upward trend here. Just be very mindful and cautious on setting price targets and stops on this one, especially being a very heavily momentum trade there. Good night, Alan. Thank you for stopping by, and thanks for the $5. Can you look at NIO, please? Thank you for the manners. NIO, yes, of course, this is the Chinese Tesla here. We are looking for some initial support coming into, sorry, I need to write a quick thing to write down. Yeah, NIO, double bottom here potentially. If the NASDAQ and like the tech stock still wants to kind of substantially come down here, that's going to be a level to look for. Initially looking for $35, but again, this stock has been a monster, basically from trading from $2, coming out of bankruptcy and really kind of showing its tail and waving its feathers to the world here. In that light and in that note here, we are seeing some pretty chop market from this one as well, potentially looking for some consolidation here. If we cannot break back above that $40 to $45 range, we can easily see this kind of dip lower in that chop mode to kind of grind it lower from there. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I want to thank everyone for coming out and watching this night's live stream. I apologize, it was a little bit later and not on time due to the fact of the weather, but glad it's still a lot of fun, and I will hope to see you guys on the next live stream. And please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel on some fantastic videos that will be coming out in the near future. All right, wonderful people. Have a fantastic evening. Have a fantastic trading week. Please join the Discord. The link is in the description and also in the chat here. And hopefully we'll see you there. Peace.